miss out on this upcoming conversation because we have one of the most prolific voices in the FGC, Seth Killian, who's going to be interviewing one of the most accomplished players in EVO history, MenaRD.
Hello?
Perfect.
I think this is happening. Hello, I'm Seth Killian. I'm here with MenaRD. Only two-time Capcom Cup champion, recent CEO champion. You've been putting bodies on the floor. We were just, unfortunately, having a deep conversation right before this all started. So we're sort of backing up here. But we're here to talk, and so I get to ask the kind of weird questions that I like to ask. So when I think about strong players, I sometimes think about their superpowers, right? Like a list of superpowers that you might have, a list of specials. I think of 3 superpowers for you, but I'm only going to talk about the first one right now. And the first one is sort of the cheering section, right? Like you have hype men, you got a crowd, you got a crew, you got them back home, and like that's a huge plus. Tell me about that. Tell me about what that superpower is for you.
Well, that superpower, it comes back from culture, honestly. And the Dominican Republic, we're all very passionate about sports, about everything. We cheer loudly about who we want to win, our team in baseball or whatever. So in fighting games, is the same thing. But it became more about a safe space. Because we didn't know anybody here in the FGC. It was all like DR versus the world, but now it has like become more of a something you do for passion. Because the FGC is like our home now. Like the Dominican players is like, oh, we're just going to one of our tournaments. It's not going to the USA or going to fight the internationals. It's just let's just go to our tournaments, you know. And now we do it out of love, you know. I want you to know that I support you and that I'm here, but it's not about being a safe space anymore. It's not about we need to defend each other.
Yeah, you're not playing defense anymore.
Yeah, it's not defense.
Before it was like me and the crew sort of keeps it together. There was, I think 2017 was fair to say your big breakout year, right? Like you were making dents in the Capcom Pro Tour, and then obviously went big at the Cup and had an incredible string of victory over super strong players, right? Like famous lifelong players. My favorite moment of that tournament for you was actually not in the game. It was the moment you won. I don't even know if you'll remember this, but the moment you won, you sort of froze and you looked at kind of at the camera for a second where you're like, oh, that just happened. So you're realizing it, but at no point do you stop moving. If you do, you realize it, but you're sort of rotating this whole time, and you do a no-look hug to your crew that was running up on stage. So from the moment you won, you were just like,
yeah, actually.
That broke my heart, like really hard, because I was just like, you just knew, like a no-look pass in basketball. Like you knew they were coming, and from the moment you won, you were starting to turn around to go for the hug, and I was like, man.
Yeah, I actually, when I was playing, I don't use headphones. I never use headphones. I like hearing the crowd, and I was hearing them going crazy, and I look around. I was like, they're there. I know if this happens, they're coming up. Like I know nobody's stopping them. So as soon as I won, I tilted my foot because I know they were gonna tackle me. I was getting ready. Like as soon as I won, I was like, wow. But I was processing, but I was getting ready. Like I don't want to get knocked down, you know. So
that was the funny part. You got it. There was an impact. Like you see when they hit them, like the chains fly off the neck because it's like it looks like a good hit effect.
DRA tackled me. Then Kava came around. I was like, I need to breathe. Like.
So it wasn't out of love that you were rotating for the hug. It was to make sure you didn't get
survival,
jacked. That is extremely perfect. You talk about like wanting to hear the crowd and like listen to the audience. Like that means a lot, and I think that's a hard thing. It doesn't always come through when you're watching. You know, I watch a lot at home these days, and I don't think that part comes through. And it's both. It creates pressure on you, but it also is that feedback, right? It's that rush. Like the same. That's what sort of this is all about, right? Like. That experience of being close to people, like feeling like that electric charge you kind of get. How do you handle that, right? Like it's very different than grinding at home. Like you literally feel the pressure. Do you have pregame rituals, or just like how do you mentally prepare for for this?
Well, you know, every time someone is really successful at something, I feel like they're a little bit crazy. I feel like no one becomes really good at something being completely sane. So in my case, and I know it's kind of weird, but I see the crowd as one thing. It's just one entity. You know, it's not multiple people. It's just one thing. And when I hear the crowd booing or cheering, it's like, what do you want from me today? You know, like I'm talking to you, the crowd. One thing. And if they're booing, it's like, today I'm gonna make you sad. Today I'm gonna shut you up. If they cheer, it's like, today I'm gonna make you proud. So it's like I'm just talking to one friend. That's the crowd. I don't imagine it as thousands of people. It's just one single thing.
That is super zen. I really love that answer. Very zen, and also the only other, I once heard a DJ talk about the crowd that way, the same way, where you sort of treat it all as the same, but I love the idea that I'm gonna shut you up, crowd. Like, very powerful. That gets me to another thing, is like, I think one of your other superpowers is like, I would say you're a sore loser, but you adapt, right?
Yes.
Like, you learn quickly. So I wanna hear about how you handle it when you lose, but like, how do you stay out of the anger zone, I guess? I think about, like, I grew up with Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame acceptance speech. The guy was angry, right? Like, he's still angry about stuff from like high school, and he's like calling people out. How do you stay in the good place, away from the dark hado, right? Like,
I've been thinking more about, like, less about myself and more about my circle, the people that work around me and the people that make it happen, you know, people that help me develop in-game, the sponsors, everything. And when I lose, it's not about, oh, I lost, you know, but MenaRD, this product that everybody is working for. Oh, that's good. Perfect. This product that everybody's working for, my group of friends, my family, everybody I can't afford to do that, to lose and embarrass myself.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I can't afford it.
Yeah,
I can't afford to lose.
I can't do that because I'm embarrassing my whole team, you know? So now I think about, okay, this is just a process. I lost. I need to learn today so I'm able to give them wins in the future. And that helped me a lot. When I stop thinking about myself, if it's only myself, it's going to be the same as always. I don't know how to lose, honestly. I don't know how to lose. But when I think about all of the people that helped me be where I am right now, then it becomes easier to accept that it's just a process.
I really love that. You flip it and make it not about you, but you make it about service to them, and that's a form of strength. I really love that. That brings me to sort of one of your second superpowers, which is the confidence, right? Like, you're always willing to bet on yourself when you make a hard read, and I think this confidence pairs with sort of the third power, which is pattern recognition. I see you and you do funny stuff to top players. Like, you do stuff to top players that you don't really see a lot of other people get away with, right? Like, you sort of walk up and throw, like, you have a freedom to your movement. And I often think about top player privilege, like, it gets measured in frames, right? If you respect somebody too much, it slows you down. You start thinking about it, like, you're not willing to go for the kind of the surprising thing. You show them respect by not doing the obvious, cheap, not putting them in a throw loop or whatever. So talk to me about pattern recognition and how you get that sense of confidence, where it comes from.
Actually, tying it together is very important because I feel people become predictable. They have a pattern when they're not confident, when they need to go like, okay, I can't see everything, I can't react to everything. I need to have a pattern that helps me survive. I need to do things that just work. Hadouken here, I stand here, maybe I'm safe, you know? And that's when I feel like people are getting scared, when I feel they're getting uncomfortable, I start looking for patterns. Oh, as soon as he gets scared, he does this. When he's confident, he does this. But when they're confident, it's harder because they'll do anything. But when they're scared, no. So that's what I look for. And I actually, you know, like Taskmaster from Marvel, like I feel I identify a lot with that character. It's because of that, because I can like see what people are doing, but not only in gaming, real life, and see myself in that. And that confidence came from Kava. Kava was absurdly confident for no reason. I was like, why are you so confident? You're not going to beat them. But he kept going and going, kept doing great things, and I took that. I was like, okay, let me try that. And when it worked, it actually inspired him. He says, oh, Mena gives me the confidence. I was like, what? I stole it from you. What?
It's a loop like that, right?
Yeah.
You reinforce each other, and because, you play together.
It worked like that, but that's the thing. Like, I try to learn from everyone that I see, try to see the good things in everybody, and I just steal the good things from them, and bring it into myself. And they won't even realize that I did that. It's amazing. I do it in game, and I do it in real life, and it works.
So who are some other players that who do you learn from? That's a hard question, I know, but you're task mastering it up.
It's tough, but I learn from a lot of players. It's hard to say because every player that I play, I try to see what they're doing, the ideas that they have, and if I can speak with them, I try to see like why will you do that? The reasoning. But
that's great advice, by the way, for everybody at home. Just ask. Ask the top player why that happened or how, and be specific, right? Like, don't just ask a general question, like a situation. Why did this happen in this way?
Why did this happen specifically?
Yes.
And from regions, I learned a lot from regions. Like, so in Japan, they have a certain style of play. In America, they have a certain style of play. In Europe, it's also different. So I try to see like, why are they playing like that? Is it because they're used to fighting a certain style and they shape their gameplay that way? So if I fight that style, should I play like a European? If I fight this character, should I play like a Japanese? And
what does it mean to play like a European?
Playing like a European is it depends on the matchups. But for example, when they play against Bison in Street Fighter V, a lot of them didn't give him the respect. They disrespected his spacing. Like, I will stand right here because you're very slow. And a lot of players tried to like approach him, smother him. They just stood right outside his range every time. And if he committed, then they jumped. It was like so simple, but so effective. I was like, I just need to do this, and I'm gonna have an easier time. So yeah, that's what I see. I see it in regions. I learned a lot from that.
That's a super great analysis. I love approaching it that way. I heard John Choi gave you some fireball lessons, and then you learned how to throw fire. You beat everybody up by throwing fireballs. True?
He did. I asked him. I like asking, and
just ask.
Everybody
just
kept telling me, "Oh, John Choi, the best fireballs in the world." I was like, "Wait, I need to talk with him, see what's going on." And I learned a lot. I was terrible at using fireballs because I used to use them like as a poke, like birdie. But now it's all about where you're standing and when you can abuse it, when they can jump, and it's really, it helped me a lot. Honestly, asking is I think is my biggest strength as a player. I just ask a lot.
I think that's good advice for everything in life. Just ask. You'd be surprised what comes back, and the cost of like somebody saying no is much lower than you think.
Yeah,
my life changed a lot just by asking. This part of this whole thing is here because we were running a tournament, and I would just go to the Capcom booth as a random guy from the internet and ask for stuff, and they said no 3 years in a row. And then the third year they were like, okay, maybe. And then away we went. All it was just ask, and kept asking. And they told me to get lost. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm just some guy from the internet. Why would you give us anything? But they did, eventually. We talked to the right person. So just ask. Great advice. We're at the beginning of the Street Fighter 6 journey. Project L is debuting. We're hearing more about Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat. Like, when you look at a new game, what jumps out to you? Like, what are you looking for? How do you break it down? We're still fresh with the 6, so what jumped out to you immediately as like a lever that you could use or a thing you needed to work on? Or
well, gameplay-wise, I try to accept games from what they are. Like, if you play Marvel, you can expect to want to play Street Fighter there, or if you're gonna play Street Fighter, like, I just take the base from the past and see what they try to change and why. Like, why will you get rid of the B system to go to the draft system? I want to see, like, okay, is it for a form factor or for what? But
so you're trying to outthink the designers.
I try to understand them.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I try to understand them, but I also focus a lot on things that are not based on gameplay, like the music, the design, the characters, the story, because I'm gonna invest a lot of time doing this. So I want to see what I'm getting into. It's not just me pressing some buttons, doing some functions. It's just me enjoying what I'm doing, and I wanna relate deeper to the characters, to the story that they want to sell me, and I focus on that a lot too. You know.
That's so super wise, right? Like I'm just a degenerate. I go straight to the training mode, right in. But you're like, that's such a great idea that you want to really invest and like appreciate the whole package. It really does help smooth out those rough edges.
Yes.
And then same thing for characters. Like when you're looking for a character that's, you always have sort of a fresh take on what's going to be good or how to make something work. You see something that other people don't see. What is that jumps out to you?
Well, gameplay-wise, I look for, I like conditioning players. So I look for tools that can condition, that require a lot of your attention. For example, you have birdie, right? At the start, it was the dolphin dive, then the can, and then it became the sweep. So I was like, okay, I can condition them with this. Blanca, a Blanca ball. Luke, sandblast. So I like a very strong tool that makes you focus on it, so I can condition you.
You play around it.
Yes,
Yeah,
and you forget about the other things. And design-wise, I just go with a lot of, it's just whatever I like, I never thought I would like Blanca, but it is what it is, I'm open to anything.
And you got the Luke in the back in case
Yes.
bad matchup or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a speed round. I call this game underrated, overrated.
Okay.
Blanca in Street Fighter 6.
Underrated.
Underrated. Drive Impact.
Overrated.
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 Why? You got to say why.
I feel Drive Impact is very strong, but in top level play, it has like maybe 1 or 2 uses. But most people that I ask that are like from mid-level to below, they're like, oh, Drive Impact breaks the game. It's like, no. It's a strong resource, but the game doesn't revolve around Drive Impact. So that's why I feel it's overrated.
I think that's good advice. It is just kind of a plateau that you reach, but you can get past it.
Yes.
Why is Blanca underrated?
Blanca is underrated first because he's ugly. I don't know why. Most people, they see ugly characters, they think they're bad right away. With Birdie, it happened for the first 2 years. Oh, he's fat, he's ugly, he sucks. Like, no, this can be broken, And I feel like Blanca, most people see him like, oh, I know what he does. No, he has set play now. He has a dive.
We used to call him circus characters.
Yeah, a circus character.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not. He's real now. So I feel like most top players know more or less where he's at. But I feel like most people in general, the community, they think Blanca is worse than he actually is.
Underrated, overrated, Dominican Republic.
Super underrated. Super underrated.
In what ways? Food department, gameplay, what's the...
In a lot of things. It's not on everything. I'm a little bit biased, but
Keeping it real. Keeping it down.
Keeping it real.
I appreciate
I
that.
feel like first thing first, players. I think that they're very underrated. I think you need to rank players on their ability to perform when they are given the chance. If they're never given the chance and they don't do anything, okay, then they don't do anything, but they never played. So a lot of them never get to travel, and they're amazing players. So they're underrated in that department. And I feel like on the tournament side, I think like we have top quality tournaments, but most people don't get to go because it's like, this is the Dominican Republic. It's not connected to the USA. It's a little bit harder to go, but I feel like the tournaments there are amazing. So
that's good advice, or good shout outs to the tournaments there. And
Yes.
it's also like when you keep the consistency, that's when you start seeing people come up. So right, if you can keep it consistent, that's how you build the audience, and that was definitely one of the keys to Evo and growing. Underrated, overrated, modern controls.
underrated too.
Underrated.
Underrated too, yes. I feel like it hasn't developed as much because most people are not even willing to try it for real. It's like, oh, I see this, it's too different, I'm not gonna do it. But I feel like a lot of characters, like specifically Luke, I feel Luke is better in modern than in classic. So
because of like the level 1 reaction,
because
super.
you get you don't have to deal with the mental stack in this game. You have the 1-button DP, you have the 1-button level 1. You can be anything easily, and you don't lose a lot of tools. It's about what you lose. He doesn't lose anything significant. It's just the back heavy kick. So I feel like in the future we're gonna see more modern, specific counter picks. Like, oh, you pick this character, I'm gonna go modern, you know?
That's exactly how I think about it. I think about it almost like a character, right?
Yes,
like
a different character.
Same way like Super Turbo had like old character, like old Sagat
Yes.
versus new Sagat. Like
Yes.
it's basically like a different matchup. The control scheme is a funny way of thinking about it, but that is how I've been thinking about it for myself. It's like there's a time where you'd like to pick modern as a counter pick.
I think it's gonna go that way
Because
for
it
sure.
really shuts down so much. Like sitting around with the level 3 with the instant reactions is like, it's hard to play against that. Like you're just like,
I saw it
I
yesterday.
don't know if this button is safe or not. And then you're thinking about it, and then you lose, right? So
Yes.
it's oppressive. Hard read on how many people in the top 64 Street Fighter bracket will be using modern controls.
I'm good at this kind of thing. Top 64.
Top 64.
I'm gonna say 5 players.
5?
5 players.
My number was 3. We're close.
It's close, but
We're
I
close.
think it's gonna be 5. I think
Good
we're gonna have one wild card, and I think we're gonna have the Japanese. They're using a lot of modern Tachikawa, Kawano.
Yeah, and to your point, there's going to be some people that play modern as part of their repertoire, right? They don't maybe
Yes.
play modern all the time, but they
I
could
mean,
go there.
I might. I don't know.
Putting your money where your mouth is. I love it. I love it.
I don't know. Watch
I love
out.
the threat. I know. That's what makes this year so exciting, right? There's going to be some surprises.
Yes.
People are going to be showing some stuff, and modern, I think, is one of those big unknown. Right? We got Rashid in the mix, but it's also like there's just a big unknown with modern. Like nobody's ever quite seen the full power. So
Yes, it's gonna be really.
it'll be
really
exciting.
fun.
What's something that you know now that you wish you knew 5 years ago, 2017 or something?
I'm gonna get a little bit deep.
I hate that.
I wish I had known people show love in different ways. Like, not everyone loves the same way that you love. And I didn't really understand that. I saw a lot of people from different cultures, even from here, from America, you know.
Yeah.
And I saw them as dry, because in my country, everybody's like really warm. They're really confident that you like them.
Yeah.
They don't have self-awareness. So in USA, everybody's like, good looks, or, keep doing your thing. I'm like, wow, they're not really my friends, what are they doing? And the more I kept interacting with everybody, the more I kept being here, I was like, wow, people really follow what I do, and a lot of them care about what's happening with me, but they just have different ways of showing it. Sometimes it's just words of encouragement, and sometimes it's just a gift. They think about, oh man, you want to go eat or whatever, and a lot of them just watch your things. They watch your streams. They support every match, and I wish I had known that before. I thought a lot about what people were saying about me, and I just focused on the bad things. But I realized, like, the people that do the good things, they do the actions. They support you, and every time I got that support, every time people clap for me, every time they like my posts, all of those things, I didn't see them, and I wish I had known that before. I will have been happier all of those times.
I think that's super wise, right? And that's one of my favorite things about the fighting game community, and always has been, is just, right, seeing people from all over the place that have their own form of respect, their own form of disrespect.
Yes.
Right? Like both, goes both ways. And finding those common grounds and finding people pay respect to each other. And that's always one of my favorite things about these big tournaments is, for as much as we all have favorites, right? Like, the crowd is cheering for a hype play. They want a good match at the end of the day, right? Like, they have their favorites, but everybody's just cheering for something great to happen.
Yes, it is.
When we're talking about, like, I don't know, this is starting to get a lot, but when I saw your investment back into the community in the DR, when you won the first big prize from Capcom Cup, that was super meaningful to me, just because there's a little tradition of trying to give back, but you did a lot of great things and helped players from DR go out and play and have a good place to play back home, but you raised the floor for everybody, right? You set expectations at a new place, and you created not just a good thing or a good time, but you created opportunity. And that meant a lot to me, because I think that's what, has been one of the most meaningful parts about EVO for me, is it's been such an opportunity for a lot of people. So when I see that coming from a younger generation, it's pretty great. how do you think about what it is you want to give back to the community, and how do you want to think about what do you want to accomplish with all that? What do you want the FGC and your part of it to look like in a few years?
Honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot, about what I'm gonna do after I stop being a player. I know it's early, you know, but I've been thinking about that. Like, what am I gonna do after I'm a player? How can I help? And I went back to how it all started. You know, why did I start playing? And I realized I started playing because I wanted to share with my friends that I was having fun and that we could kick it together. And I realized like how big the FGC has become a part of my life, such an important part of my life after the pandemic. I was like, man, I'm home. I miss everybody. I miss the strangers that I'm gonna meet. And I just want the FGC to keep growing and that more people can live the same experience that I had. It's been so magical, you know, my life, all the people that I've known. And I want more people to know that there's a space that you can do that. You know, you don't even need to play fighting games to be part of the FGC. It's funny. I met so many people that just like to watch. They just like to watch. They just like being here. And the world needs that. The world has a lot of people that they're alone and they want to meet people. They want to have fun. They want to find the meaning of what they're doing here in this life. And I feel like the FGC helped me. It gave me a space in life. And I want more people to find that. So I just wanted to grow more.
You're killing me here. I'm going to try and keep it together. I think that's, incredibly powerful. Like, how do you judge that? Is it that by the performance? Like, what does progress look like to you? Is it seeing more DR players traveling? Do you judge by performance in a tournament? You know, it's a hard thing. There's a lot of things that can happen in big tournaments, and so can be inconsistent. How do you measure progress, and how do you feel like you're tracking towards what's most important to you?
Well, it's when I have multiple circles of people in my life. I have people from all walks of life in my life. People that, you know, they focus on their college, people that work in business, people that are like, you know, not doing so good. Yep. When all of them start talking to me about fighting games, and it's not about me. It's like, oh, I saw the new game. I was like, wait, what? Why is my uncle talking to me about Scorpion? Every time I see people get more invested into it, and I see like more friends that don't know anything about fighting games getting into it, it's like the product is good. People like this. And I feel like it's been growing. Look at this. Look at us. We're sitting here. I don't even know where my friends are. I don't know where Kava is. I don't know where nobody is.
The whole room is full of friends.
It's full of friends. It's full of people that enjoy fighting games. And this is progress. This is progress.
Yeah, that's how I think about it. I mean, there's numbers, but it's the feeling in the room. That's what I always, every time there was a big change in EVO or something happened, or just in any tournament, if there's that feeling in the room, we're okay. That's what matters. Games come and go. You talked a lot about loneliness and lonely people, and I think trying to fight loneliness has been a big deal, a big part of this. One thing that's a part of that, like, to avoid loneliness, you need different people at different points in your life, right? At some distance, at closer. What about the family? How important has that been to you? Did your parents support what you were doing?
No, at the first, no. I don't know if most people knew this, but academically I was doing really good. Like, I got into college when I was 15, and I was projected to like finish be an engineer when I was 19. So my parents were like big on that. You know, you gotta do this. This is the path we have set for you, and I think you're gonna do good. And I was like, I don't like this. You know, maybe if I had the knowledge I have now, maybe it would have been different, but I'm glad it happened, you know, because life is not all about being safe. Life is not all about doing what you're supposed to do, but it's what you want to do. It's how you feel happy, and I feel happy here, and when they saw that, they love it here. My mom saw my set right now. She's in the hospital taking care of something, and she sent me a text message, oh, you got 3 perfects. Oh my God, I was like, wow, really? And my dad was like, you got to pick up JP. My dad told me, like, My dad told me in 2017.
Is he right, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, all
I
right,
need to
yeah.
forget.
Okay, he told you in 2017.
In 2017, he told me like, yo, if you don't win Capcom Cup, if you don't make something out of this gaming thing, I'm gonna put you like in the military. You're gonna do something. And now he's talking to me about matchups. You know, it's.
So it started with threats.
Yes, I feel the support now, and I feel like everybody should always think like they have a balance. I need something safe. I need to survive, but I also need to be happy. I need to do things that I like, and I know that your circle, your friends, your family, they will be happy if you're happy.
You said a lot of things there. Maybe this is the same answer, but I think at the beginning, right? Like, you came on, had such incredible, undeniable success, now have a second Capcom Cup under your belt, many other wins, CEO just recently. What does respect look like? This was a thing that I felt like was not given at the beginning, in spite of the results, right? Now the results are super undeniable. What form does respect take for you? What does it look like?
I think it comes as acknowledgement. I've been unknown, not being recognized, people not even noticing you're there. It's pretty deep. It hurts. And when people start to acknowledge you, you are part of something, you're here. I think that's the biggest form of respect you can give. You know, like they know you're there, they know you're alive, and they know you want to do things too. So I know before when people used to like boo me and go against me, I would be so tired, like, why, you know, I don't even know you. And now I see it as such a sign of respect. Like, we know you can win and we don't want you to. You know, like, we know you're good at this.
They're afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah. They like, recognize the fear.
Yeah,
the threat.
we hate you because you can do what we don't want you to do. So I see it as respect when they cheer for me too, you know. But yeah, just acknowledgement for me is like the biggest sign of respect I've seen in the FGC and in life in general.
I think we're getting to the end of our time. Let's end on gratitude. You've been talking a lot this time about things that are important in your life, and when you think of the FGC and you think of your time here, what's the gratitude like for you? What gives you that feeling of gratitude, or what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful I have something to look forward to every day that I wake up. Every day that I wake up, I have friends to think about. I have self-improvement to think about. I have events. I have places to go in the world, opportunities, and I have a chance to change the world and to inspire people. And people see themselves in what I'm doing, and I can send a positive message. Like, I have the platform, but at the same time, I'm part of it. Like, I receive what I'm giving. Like, if I try to help, more people will help back. And even if I don't help, more people are just helping.
It amplifies.
Yes,
yeah.
So I'm really, really grateful. I have something to look forward to in my life, and honestly, like, the way my life has been, I'm not even like, I think God has done enough for me. I'm a firm believer, so I think my life has been too good, and I'm just grateful for the time that I've been here.
I think that about says it all. Please join me in giving a hand to MenaRD. A lot of wisdom here today.
Thank you so much.
Let's go.